Thank you, everybody, for joining us. As Catherine mentioned, my name is Eric Frihinal, and I'm the head of the Department of English and Communication here at PolyU. We're so happy that you're able to join us. I'm looking at a lot of names online through Zoom. This means that we all are really interested in what's going on with AI, particularly ChatGPT, and very many other similar applications that we now are all using or have heard. And it's something that, as everybody is saying, will be changing the way we view language teaching and learning, particularly writing, at least in some of the important topics that many of us in this group, we're all English teachers, or writers are very much interested in. I'm very, very honored to see a lot of you guys joining us, and thank you for being here. Our speaker is an amazing colleague of ours at the Department of English and Communication, who is a local to Hong Kong. The great thing about Dr. Phoebe Lin is that she has actually been involved and focusing on ChatGPT and AI from the very beginning. So from the early times of ChatGPT, which is, come to think of it, just a few months ago. We're just only talking about late November, early December kind of beginning, and now it's only March, and it's just so different now compared to when we were discussing this in December. But anyhow, Dr. Lin is an academic technology enthusiast, a software developer, academic writing teacher, and she is known for her amazing work called Idioms Tube, which is a web-based tool used by close to 10,000 users worldwide to learn English vocabulary through YouTube videos. I hope that you will check out idiomstube.com. And Phoebe has developed a lot of information materials that are very useful for language teachers. For this presentation, Phoebe is going to be focusing on how AI may enhance secondary school education or not. You know, still thinking that we have some threats here, focusing on you know, what to do at the moment. There are a lot of changes as we speak. GPT-4 is out just a couple of days ago, and locally we have Ernie that's also now out, and I was just reading this morning how the reviews have been quite amazing, especially in Chinese translation. So we are really in the beginning stages. A lot of things are happening, lots of things going on, and we should be ready. We should be prepared. We should look out for all of the potential problems and issues, but we cannot be doing our job if we're not very familiar yet with the tool. Our students are, as you all know, they will have access, they will know what to do, and sometimes they are ahead of us. And so this is the time for us to also catch up. So with that, I would like to turn it over to Dr. Phoebe Lin, and thank you all again for joining us this afternoon at PolyU.
Thank you, Eric, and welcome everyone to this talk. And I would hopefully share with you some interesting ideas about how you could use ChatGPT or similar AI tools in your teaching, in your preparation, and how you can train your students possibly. So I am going to have a Q&A session at the end, and then I also have prepared some handouts for you. And so I suppose our colleagues could share the handouts in the chat box. And in the handout, I've written down some prompts that we can try and use with ChatGPT or similar AI tools. Actually, there are so many AI tools available. And so I will talk about these tools. And then if you have any questions during the talk, please feel free to write down your questions in the chat box. And then my colleagues will look at your questions. And then during the Q&A, I would answer some of the questions. So I hope we are all clear and about what we're going to do, and then we'll have a very enjoyable 45 minutes or so. So today I'm going to talk about AI tools and what exactly are they? AI, of course, stands for artificial intelligence. How does it work? It's actually machines. It's actually machine learning algorithms trained on a large amount of data. So like how much data there is, like it's more than we can imagine. It's like gigabytes after gigabytes of data, like all input into some computer models, and then somehow the machine learning algorithms, the neural networks are trained on those data, and then boom, we have got a model that actually accurately predicts how language is used. So actually, AI tools, there are many types of AI tools, although we are most familiar with ChatGPT, which took the world by storm in recent months. So in the past, we have seen AI tools used in facial recognition. I think many of us have got iPhones or like Samsung mobile phones. They can recognize our face and log us into the phone based on like our facial features. And then if anyone has been traveling recently, you'll be familiar with the airport baggage systems. Like how come they manage to send the baggage to the right planes, to the right destinations? That's all at the back AI tools. And then medical imaging analysis, we have loads of scans, medical scans. And so if doctors miss some important diagnostic features, then AI could help them possibly to spot these features, spot abnormalities in the X-rays and so on. So actually, AI tools have been around for ages, but then only recently we realized that actually everyone can access AI on our smartphones or on our computers. Actually, we don't need to know computer science. We don't need to know, we don't need to have fancy equipment. And all we need is to chat. And this is the tool that we have all been talking about. It's called ChatGPT. It's amazing because everyone's been talking about, okay, how ChatGPT managed to achieve 1 million users in 5 days and compare with other like popular platforms like Netflix. It took them 3.5 years to achieve 1 million users, blah, blah, blah. So ChatGPT, many people are using it and for a good reason. And the latest figure back in January, 2 months ago, we had already like 100 million users, which was amazing. And so the start of today, ChatGPT, what is it? It is a chatbot, like a robot that chats with users. And it was developed by the then non-profit making organization called OpenAI. And the model was called GPT-3, Generative Pre-trained Transformer 3, although we have now got GPT-4, I think this week. And so what is it? It's a model trained based on 570 gigabytes of data sets. And that it is a neural network model, like some kind of like deep learning, machine learning models. And the model is so powerful, it has got 175 billion parameters. It's not the biggest neural network that I've heard of yet. There is a bigger one in China. But then we are already seeing how powerful ChatGPT is. And I wonder how many of us have actually tried ChatGPT already. And then you will know that it's really strong. And imagine in China, there is an even bigger neural network trained, producing even more parameters. That one would be probably even more accurate. I don't know. We will wait and see. And the amazing thing about ChatGPT is it works with any language. Not any, but many languages, let's say. So English is what we are familiar with, and Chinese, Japanese, Spanish, German, all these. So when you, like, I suppose most of us are teachers in the audience, and actually in the following demonstrations or examples, I keep on using English because this is the language of my presentation. But of course, you can adapt all the examples I present in your native language. So you can ask the same questions in the same format in Chinese, for example. Actually, we have got mixed views towards ChatGPT. When it first came out in November, everyone was so excited because everyone was trying to see how ChatGPT could like test how good it was. And so people try to make ChatGPT answer exam questions. So ChatGPT tried the US medical licensing exam and passed. And ChatGPT tried the Wharton MBA exam and it passed. And then everyone was so astonished by how good it is. And everyone was saying that maybe sooner or later we'll be out of our jobs because ChatGPT seems to know a lot and it seems to have answers to everything. And which is amazing, isn't it? But then gradually, over the course of a few months, people started to wonder if we should be actually more careful about ChatGPT. So in this corner, it says like, there is the news headline. It says, is ChatGPT the future of cheating or the future of teaching? So we can see that ChatGPT has a great potential for educators, but at the same time, we are careful about the quality of ChatGPT and how good it is. It is in education. And then people have been talking about, okay, we need more regulation. Otherwise, everything will probably go out of control. It says, oh, scary AI. It's interesting, isn't it? And just so you know, I said, okay, ChatGPT is based on the model called GPT-3 developed by OpenAI. And is that it? Not really, because OpenAI has developed other products using ChatGPT-3. So using like machine learning, using AI, we could now produce images just by writing, like just by telling the program what we want, we can get it to produce images that are totally new. So in the past, we might be worried about, okay, the copyright of images that we use. Nowadays, everyone could create new images and they are copyright free, I suppose. And then we have got image identification using Clip. So now in this example, you can see Clip correctly identifies the name of this cuisine. I'm not sure how to read it, but it looks very interesting. 90.1% chance that this is this kind of food. So imagine the huge application of this is that imagine you are a biology teacher. What you could do possibly is to take your students to the garden or to any like plants, and then take a photo of the plant, and then somehow it could identify what kind of plant it is, what kind of tree it is. And then that's not the end, but like you can see like how this kind of tool can help with learning new objects. And then there is also the speech text-to-speech recognition software called Whisper. And you can see that teachers from now on can use this to help learners improve their pronunciation, for example. All these time students lack opportunities to practice their spoken English, and everyone was silent in the classroom. What about you chasing your students to try out like Whisper, for example, so that they can find out how good their spoken English is? It may not be just English, it could be Spanish, it could be Korean, it could be Japanese, anything. So today I keep using the term ChatGPT, but actually I don't mean only ChatGPT because there are many alternatives to ChatGPT these days. And for example, in Hong Kong, we can easily access UChat. If we go to this website called u.com, you will find the link to UChat. It has similar functions to ChatGPT. And then actually what it does more is it is also a search engine. So it combines internet connection with like chatbot function, AI chatbot function. So in a sense, some people would say u.com is even better than ChatGPT in terms of what it can do. So you can search for recent events, and I heard from my research assistant that it is great. So in the past, she would use Google to search for information, and now she would use like u.com or UChat. It is more like a an even more powerful Google search engine. So try it out. And POE is another chatbot that we can use. Is similar to ChatGPT. And the one that I myself am currently using is Notion AI. It combines note-taking with AI writing tools. So you can see that it can perform a number of functions like writing, brainstorming ideas, doing grammar and spell check. I suppose many of us are familiar or have heard of the famous program called Grammarly. And I was thinking, now that we have Notion AI or ChatGPT or UChat or POE, maybe do we still need Grammarly? Because Grammarly may not be free, and then like all these AI tools are producing more functions than just grammar and spell check. And then it can also do summarizing, simplifying, expanding. Actually, like the list of features here can also be done using ChatGPT. So all these platforms are actually quite similar. And Eric just told us about ErnieBot. It came out just yesterday. So it's trained using data from Baidu, and then it carries out mathematical calculations. It can generate videos and images. So the functions that I told you about, it can also do using the ErnieBot. The ErnieBot can also deliver. So it can also speak in Chinese dialects. So I've listed different availabilities of the tools. And if you want a copy of the PowerPoint slides, you can just leave us a message, or like my colleagues would actually share the slides in the chat box with us. So today, what are we going to talk about? Basically, I've got two things that I want to cover. The first thing is, what can AI do for teachers and learners? And I think there are three aspects that I want to cover. And in my notes, I've listed examples of how to use each of these functions. So even if we haven't got time to cover everything, at least you still have the notes to refer to and try out. And I do want you to try out all these tools. If you like UChat, you can try it out. And it's like you can get it immediately without any problems with access. So like, how do you learn to use AI tools? That's by like you learn through hands-on, you learn through practicing. So I encourage you to try that. Take home the instructions, the examples that I give you, and maybe practice these tasks. And then the second thing I will talk about is what are the challenges and ethical considerations in the implementation of AI tools in secondary school education. So there are pitfalls to AI tools, and I want us to think about these pitfalls. And when we think about whether we should implement AI tools in our classroom, in our schools, we need to keep in the back of our mind like all these issues. And I think the more we discuss these issues, the better, actually. Instead of like, because people have a lot of suspicions, people have some doubts about like the power of AI tools, because they haven't talked about it enough. I suppose if people think about things, talk about things, and keep an open mind, we will we'll have some breakthroughs. And I've been mentioning the notes, so you can get the notes here if you scan the QR code or just click this link here. So I've got my my notes with me on my iPad as well. So I'll refer to my notes from time to time. So just want to show you some examples of how students, first of all, may benefit from using AI tools. The first aspect is personalized learning, and the second aspect is tutoring service, and then writing assistance, university entrance preparation, and career guidance, emotional support. So let's go through each of them briefly. So using ChatGPT or AI tools, for example, we can get AI to recommend resources and come up with plans on how our students can learn. So imagine we are the student, we could ask ChatGPT by saying, I'm a 12-year-old Cantonese learner of English. I want to learn 100 new words about food and dining. Suggest the 100 new words that I should learn, and draft a timetable so that I can achieve the goal within a month. So it's a very straightforward case. And then if you try it today, you will see quickly ChatGPT or any other AI tool showing you a list of 100 new English words categorize into like, this is about different cooking methods, this is about different types of foods, and then this is about different cuisines, exotic cuisines, and so on. Different names of restaurants, different types of restaurants, for example. And then the categorization will be very clear, and then it even suggests to you like which words you should learn on the first day, the second day, the first week, second week, and so on. And then the good thing about AI tools is, if you think, okay, the words suggested by the tool I already know, like what I tried actually, I could like tell the tool saying that, oh, the 100 words that you suggested may be too easy for me. Like I already know the words of like apples, oranges, bananas. Can you suggest some words that are more difficult? And then it would go back again and then change all the, like come up with a new plan of words that your student can learn. So the key to getting good answers from AI tools, from chatbots, from ChatGPT, for example, would be to give it feedback. And if you're not happy with the answer that the tools give you, you can ask it to do it again and again and again until you get a good answer. Actually, there's like every time the tools will generate a new response. So actually you can get lots of new ideas. And then someone would also say, and I've actually tried this, that AI tools such as ChatGPT can provide instant answers to students' questions. You know, our students, like, you know, as teachers, we are very busy. We don't always have time to answer students' questions immediately. And then, like, because every student has got his or her own needs, and how can we be everywhere at once? So what about we introduce our students to AI tools like POE or justu.com so that they can start getting answers from the tools like this. I don't know how to start writing my essay. Can you help? And then the tool would say, before you start writing, blah, 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 blah. So it will provide an answer. And then if our students know that they can give feedback to the tool so that they can get even more accurate answer, then our student will be getting guidance from the tool itself. So the process is really like a teacher talking to our student. Like this is incredibly similar to what we do when we converse with our students. So you can see that ChatGPT, like the good thing about using this chat arrangement is that it is really easy. Students can just talk to ChatGPT as if they are talking to a teacher, basically. I've got more mind-boggling examples, writing assistants, for example. So I talk about like using AI tools like ChatGPT to do spell checks or grammar checks. Actually, it can do more. It can actually edit the whole passage and give you not only like grammar like highlights about grammar and spelling problems, but actually it can work on logic and structure of an essay. So if you refer to your notes, prompt number 3, you can see the whole line that I've listed. You can see in prompt number 3 in my notes, you are a native speaker of English, of British English with lots of experience with proofreading and editing. You need to help me revise my argumentative essay, clarifying the logic of my writing, strengthening the structure of sections and paragraphs, and making the language more succinct and confident. So it can provide, it does not only provide you with changes, it does not only provide you with advice about tone changes, it actually changed the tone for you. So correct any unidiomatic language, remove redundancies, do you understand? So like whatever you need, just tell ChatGPT in a very long, detailed prompt, and it will deliver what you want. I've got another example about writing assistants. Many of us maybe work in the area of career advice, career counseling. So imagine we have a student nominated for Outstanding Student Award or any kind of scholarship, and then the student would come to us for help with writing their personal statements. Instead of like guiding them from beginning to end, which will take a lot of hard work, perhaps we can get started, get students to start by looking at ChatGPT examples, or to look at like ChatGPT's like suggestions. So here in this prompt, again, if you look at my notes, prompt number 4 is quite long. I can provide details about my achievements. For example, I've got a scholarship, and then I have been the team captain, blah, blah, blah. And so you can see that learning how to write prompts is a skill. And then this is a skill. If we decide to introduce our students to use AI tools, we actually need to give them training on how to write proper prompts, because if the prompt is not detailed enough, not clear enough, then the results that we get from the AI tools would not be good enough. And I just show you an example about personal statements. Actually, the personal statement example could be applied in the case of university entrance preparations as well, and scholarships, and so on. Career guidance. Have you thought about this? I was totally like blown by this like option. Actually, when you talk to ChatGPT or AI tools, the best way forward is to tell the tool what identity it has. For example, here I said, you are a senior career advisor in a human resources firm. And then I say, I am your client, a high school graduate who wants to take a gap year before starting university. And then look at this. We can give AI tools a very clear instruction that you must ask me questions to zone in on my background, interests, and preferences before you offer me concrete suggestions on jobs that I should apply for. So instead of writing all the questions, actually you can chat with the tool so that it will ask you relevant questions. And when you provide answers to the relevant questions guided by the tool, ultimately the tool will give you a recommendation or some recommendations about jobs that the student can do. So you have to say, like, this is important. You have to tell ChatGPT or AI tools using the word must, because if you use the word can, it would not do it. So you need to say it like this. You must only ask me one question each time, and let me answer you first. And then you can ask the next question. You have something that we take for granted when we talk to a human teacher. We have to spell it out when we talk to AI tools. So we have to write these rules about how we should talk to like ChatGPT, for example. So this is important. That's why I highlight this example for you. You can offer me suggestions on jobs when you think you have enough information from me. So we are trying to get AI tools to be clever, collect information that it thinks will be relevant to helping us find which job will suit us. And then we restrict it to ask us one question at a time. And yeah, so it's like, try it out tonight after work, and then see how it goes. I've tested all these prompts that I introduced to you, and my research assistant helped me test these prompts as well, and we found them really working. Otherwise, we wouldn't recommend them to you. And believe you me, we have got emotional support from AI tools as well. Here is one example. Imagine we have got a student knowing that he or she is unhappy and needs someone to talk to, and sometimes we might not be available, and sometimes we might, like, the students might not feel like talking to someone. And so about the secrets, for example. And so what they could possibly think about is to get help from ChatGPT or tools like this. I do not think anyone likes me. Like we hear students say that sometimes. Apply positive reframing techniques to help me see my situation in a different light. So no one likes me, so how can I see things in a different light? Present your answer in a table with clear labels about the technique applied. So imagine, like, this is good for training teachers in the counseling team as well. different strategies that we can use to rephrase students' negative language. So try it out. I'm not showing you the results today because we might not have enough time, but then I encourage you to try them out. And actually, so far I've shown you 6 possible uses of AI tools by students. And actually, I think AI tools are especially useful for students struggling with specific topics or need additional help outside of the classroom. And actually, in my notes, I have mentioned 8 different prompts for your reference. So actually, like you might ask me, like, how about if I ask simpler questions like explain photosynthesis to me as a 12-year-old student? So you can do that. It's very easy. And then other things that you can do, ChatGPT or AI tool, help me to prepare for a mock job interview, and then you will ask me questions because I am about to interview for a post, for the post of a part-time librarian, for example. So the examples, the use cases I show you today, feel free to adapt them to your own situation. And if you need help, I am, like, you have got my email too. So that's about student use. Before I move on, I need to be clear about what AI tools cannot do for students. And I have to bring this up because our students may not know about this. And because AI tools like ChatGPT provides answers so quickly, and the language seems so confident, we might be misled into thinking that the answer provided by ChatGPT or AI tools must be correct. That's not true. What AI tools cannot do is to provide 100% accurate answers. Don't blame it because it is only a model, a statistical model trained on lots of data. So if that's why if the data that the model was trained on did not contain information on a certain area, in a certain area, AI tools would not be able to answer those questions. When AI tools such as ChatGPT find itself unable to answer your question, what does it do? It would make up answers, like create answers that might not be accurate. I have recent experience of that. And that's why when we introduce AI tools to our students, we need to alert our students to the fact that sometimes the answers provided may actually be totally wrong. So it's always important to double check what is provided, what is said by the AI tools. And one thing that we know as academics that AI tools cannot do is to provide accurate references. Sometimes it says, oh, there is this book that covers this, that talks about a certain point. When you look up this book in the library, you will find that the author exists, the book exists, but then the author never wrote this book, and then the book never discussed this topic. And so things like this could be quite common. So AI tools might not be good for research, but then for answering simple questions like how do you use the word further and farther, give me some examples of 10 sentences that begins with a certain word, that kind of thing AI tools can do really well. It can also do summaries and so on. All the functions I demonstrate, they are good at. AI tools are good at doing. But then the warning is, do not trust AI tools 100%. Always look at it, look at the answers as some kind of reference, and then always go back to check if it is true. And this is what we must emphasize in front of our students. And actually, what AI tools can't do also is to provide work that's better than average. And we saw in the news articles that I just showed you, it says that ChatGPT passed all these exams, like medicine exams or legal exams or whatever exams, like MBA exams. It only used the word passed. Passed means it was good enough, but how good it is. Actually, I look up information on the in different sources, and then it says like when people send essays written by ChatGPT to professors for grading, the work produced by ChatGPT was only worth a B or a C grade. So if students are looking to get a pass, they can do that using ChatGPT or AI tools. But then the students who are a bit more ambitious won't be satisfied at all with just a B grade or C grade. So for those students, they need to know that they need to achieve, there is a lot of room for improving the answers provided by ChatGPT or AI tools. So can I ask if anyone has got questions so far? Okay, I've got some questions in the chat box. Yeah, so maybe I will, is there any immediate question that I need to answer? If not, maybe I will carry on and save time.
I want to ask,
Okay.
is this AI the most advanced among the others that you've mentioned?
Which one?
This one, this chatbot, is this the most advanced one compared to the others?
You mean ChatGPT, like which one? I've introduced 4.
Yeah, you've introduced a few more. So isn't it the first one is the most advanced?
I may come to your question in a bit, and then I would say I am quite happy with UChat, although I'm currently using Notion AI myself. And when I travel, when I have access to ChatGPT, I might use ChatGPT as well. So actually different tools might give you different answers, even if you ask the same question. And personally, I've made a decision to use Notion AI, but then I think all of us have to try out different tools and then see which one works best for us. But then I suppose in Hong Kong, for our students, the one that's easiest to access will be UChat. And then I've heard recommendations from fellow teachers that POE is also quite good. But then POE only works with iOS, so you need an iPhone, for example. That's why I think UChat, I think it's probably the way forward. Thanks. Actually, there are different criteria for choosing the best AI tool. Maybe I can go into that later on because that's an advanced question. And thank you for your question. And let me move on. So those of us who are teachers here may have a hard time preparing for classes because we have so much to do already. So what we can try and do with the help of AI tools is perhaps to get AI tools to help us to adapt content. So imagine we need to find imagine we are trying to create the next exam paper for reading comprehension in English. Instead of looking up like exercises published by publishers, already published in the exercise books, we could create a new article for reading comprehension by looking up maybe the BBC or New York Times or SCMP, find an article that's more recent, relevant, more interesting to our students, and then get ChatGPT to adapt the article so that it can make a good reading comprehension article. You can see that I here specify that the words used within the passage must contain only 500 words, and then the words need to be comprehensible. The words need to be known to a 15-year-old student. So, and then you can provide the link to the article. Actually, you can even ask AI tools to suggest the exam questions, the reading comprehension questions for you too. That's amazing. And then if you are trying to fill in the blank exercises, you can get it to create some sample sentences for you, and then you hide the words that you want the students to fill in, which is amazing. And then the next one is automation of grading and assessment. This is absolutely like mind-boggling because if you provide ChatGPT with a rubric, then it can grade the work based on your rubric. You can see in my example, imagine you like ChatGPT, you are an experienced IELTS examiner, and I will provide many student writing samples to you. You must grade and provide comments on each of the student samples based on my rubric. There must be a grade and comments for each of the criteria in my rubric is blah, blah, blah. Wow. Imagine, like, I'm not saying that you should like what we can do, for example, because we want our students to practice as frequently as possible. And if we ask our students to practice very frequently, we end up getting a lot of work for ourselves because marking is not easy. And what if we get our students to practice and then they get ChatGPT to give them the first level of comments before coming to the teacher for extra help? That would save a lot of our workload, I think. And we can also, one of the functions that AI tools can do easily is to write computer codes. Today, I'm not covering that because that might be like a bit like too far. But then what you could get ChatGPT or AI tools to do is to come up with formulas. Many of us work with Excel spreadsheets. We have got student scores, and we need to find which student has improved the most in the past year, blah, blah, blah. And then somehow, if we don't know how to write the Excel formula, we could take ages doing everything by hand. And so what you can do is to go to ChatGPT or AI tools, get it to write for you the Excel formula that you are looking for. If you want to get more examples about how you can get the AI tools to write Excel formulas or visual basic formulas for you, like creating timetables for your whole school, you can look up some YouTube videos. There are many demonstrations, many examples, templates, and so on. Try it out, please. And then writing documents. I'm now moving on to school admin tasks, you see. Like every day we have to write documents as teachers. Sometimes our bosses ask us to write proposals for quality education funds, for example. Like, can AI tools help us in that respect? So you can tell it to, like, you can say to the tool, I need to write a 7-page proposal for the QE fund to seek 1 million for promoting the health and fitness of students in my school. And maybe you can ask it to come up with suggestions. It will say, okay, let's develop a basketball team, blah, 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 or buy some biking equipment, let's set up a gym, for example. And then you can ask ChatGPT or tools to suggest the structure of the proposal and suggest FAQs that the funding body will want to answer when they see my proposal. What's more, you can ask it to give you great answers. Like, I'm not asking you to copy and paste all the great answers from the tools, but then it helps you to get started. Like the answers provided get you started much more quickly. Again, I have to refer to my notes because I have only got enough time to highlight some uses, and there are more examples in my notes that I want you to look at. And if you have problems, you can always come back to us if we can help you with some learning. And then actually, there are also many websites, YouTube videos on how to write good prompts for AI tools. So just Google like ChatGPT prompts for education, for example. You'll get a list of suggestions. Again, in my notes, let me remind you that I'm using English examples, but actually when your students and yourself use the prompts, you can input the prompts in any language you like. You can input in Japanese, Chinese, English, whatever. So now comes to my second part of my talk. What about ethical concerns? And actually, if we promote AI tools amongst our students, will our students become dependent upon AI tools that they won't do the work by themselves anymore? And I think these issues are open for discussion, but I would love to share my views towards these aspects with you, but feel free to disagree. So actually, we might need to be aware of the fact that there might be potential bias in the AI tools because the developers of ChatGPT, for example, have imposed some rules about religion, racism, gender. So the answers provided by the tools might not represent the truth. But having said that, it's developing. So like some time ago, I tested it and then I realized it has improved already. So beware of the bias in the answers and always check. And AI tools, like when students get answers out of AI tools, some of our students may follow the advice provided by the AI tools without further thinking or without being critical about the suggestions. We need to be aware of, like when we introduce the tools to our students, we still need to give them guidance, because some of the suggestions, our students need to know that whatever actions they take as a human being, they have to take responsibility. So if AI tools tell them to do something that are inappropriate, they should know better. And actually AI tools today, like ChatGPT, are very good, and it already gives warning. For example, like if I ask ChatGPT, oh, I'm feeling sick because I'm coughing so much, can I have COVID, for example? It would like give you an answer and at the same time give you some warnings, saying to you that if you feel really unwell, you should go and see a doctor, because I'm not providing you with the most accurate medical advice. So ChatGPT and other tools are already doing some work to not affect human thoughts and decisions, reminding people that ultimately it's the person making all the decisions themselves. And the tools, what the tools are doing is to give advice on what can be done. So we may need to be aware of this when we introduce our students to the tools. And one thing that we should be aware of is the digital divide. Imagine now we have AI tools these days being so powerful, doing everything that we like it to do, giving career advice, giving medical advice, giving like language advice, coming up with timetables, activity suggestions, and so on. Those of us who can use AI tools will be probably 10 times more powerful than people who don't use AI tools. So people who use it, people who don't use it, the gap between the two groups will become wider and wider. And when I spoke with some teachers earlier, some teachers thought, okay, maybe AI tools, ChatGPT is just a hype. There are many hypes in education. Sometimes there is a wave, it is a fashion. Sometimes all of a sudden everyone talks about X, and then a few months later, X is no longer the keyword and then no longer the buzzword. Mind you, AI tools, I believe, are here to stay. It's not a hype. It's gonna change education forever. So the digital divide, we need to do something about it. And are we happy staying on the other side of the river, being ignorant about AI tools? I don't know. And some students will grow to be dependent upon AI tools. I think people who think that who will be dependent upon AI tools are students who might be less critical. They might be happy with just passing an exam, passing an assignment. But then those students who aim for higher, like A grade or like going to the famous schools, will not be satisfied with the work produced by AI tools. But like AI tools get them started, but they won't, like people who are very good will not become dependent upon AI tools. But the students who have always been struggling with motivation, with doing work by themselves, would become dependent upon whatever they can get their hands on. So I don't think we can blame the tools so much, I think. And then some people would say, oh no, everyone will start copying and pasting AI generated content and they won't do their homework anymore. Well, I think this is a problem, like people submitting assignments generated by AI tools is probably a problem that university lecturers, professors will have to deal with more than high school teachers. In high school, as far as I know, many of us are still requiring students to submit handwritten work. And in high schools, it's like students are mostly assessed based on their exam performance in exams. So when it is when you have lots of exams, people can't access AI tools. So ultimately, actually, what I mean is AI tools, the fact that people can copy and paste generated content does not affect high school students as much as university students. But then, like if you say projects, students can still copy and paste and generate projects using AI tools. Yeah, that could happen, but that's why I will introduce to you some useful tools that I found, like Wisdom AI, Originality AI, Copy, Leaks, Cross Flags. They are all AI detectors with different levels of accuracy at detecting AI generated language. So, so you can try them out, and this one is free. This one is free, and of course these, like I've listed their functions here. You can take a look at the PowerPoint slides if you want, and I'm happy to take questions as well. And so to conclude, AI in education, I think whether we like it or not is probably going to happen. We are still discussing how we could regulate the use of AI by our students so that they use it safely, carefully, and wisely, smartly under our guidance. So a lot of work still needs to be done, but then like we can see that AI tools are becoming better and better, and maybe before long there will be a specific AI tool that's developed for students, suitable for children even. We don't know. So AI tools are evolving at an unprecedented rate, and they will continue to make an impact. And when we think about the issues associated with AI tools, actually, some of like AI tools are actually quite neutral. They are a tool. It's what what users do with the tools that may create problems. But of course, those are separate questions. And actually, before long, we will have to introduce our students to the use of AI tools. Let's be honest, whether we introduce our students to AI tools or not, our students might already be using the AI tools because they saw it in the news. They saw the tools in the news already. So I think probably the right attitude would be to face the challenge and see what AI tools actually do, and then find a way to helpfully introduce our students to the tools. I've got some suggestions on how we can introduce the tools to our students if anyone is interested. And it is essential for students and teachers to know how to use them properly, really. So we have got a survey. We might plan some further activities if you are interested. So please let us know what you think about this talk. And please leave us your questions there if I'm unable to answer all your questions today, because we have got like 6 more minutes. And I would like to do a bit of promotion as well. Like you might wonder, why do I talk about ChatGPT? Like I'm a professor and assistant professor in the English department. And so what does English departments actually do these days? Actually, at PolyU, our department has a major in English and applied linguistics. And within this major, we offer a secondary major in artificial intelligence and data analytics. Actually, our students, we have a group of students interested in AI, and some of our graduates actually will finish their education here and go ahead to work at Google, Apple, and so on. So this is something relevant to our program. And if you're interested in our program, please do get in touch with us and check out our website. I've got the link here. So thank you very much for listening.